The 4Ps is looking at the physical, psychological, performance and people aspects of working with someone who might have experienced trauma. So looking at the physical stuff, so exploring without actually talking about trauma, we're exploring what's happening in the physical body. So it might be things like that the person is feeling pain in weird places, feeling tension in their shoulders. But it can be, not getting enough sleep, feeling really fatigued and exhausted, feeling really active and excitable a lot of the time. Even mental health concerns can fall into the physical kind of aspect. So it's important to kind of talk around what the person might be experiencing in their body, because we know that trauma is often stored in the body. Psychological, we want to talk around mental health. So what sort of things is that person experiencing? So it might be super heightened emotions. It might be being really numb and really shut down. And some of these things can fall over, two categories. So feeling numb physically as well as emotionally can happen. It's really a way to explore what psychological aspects is happening, what's happening in the mind of this person. Do they feel depressed? Do they feel down? Are they feeling hypervigilant or paranoid? And we know that different people can have different experiences, and this can look different. So if you're working with one person, you can feel in this completely differently to another person who might have experienced trauma. Then we go to performance. So performance is really around functioning. What's happening with that person's functioning? Are they able to get out of bed every morning and go to work? Are they able to hold down jobs? We know that parenting can sometimes be impacted if people have their own trauma history. What other things around performance? Sleeping, just those day-to-day things that we do and we take for granted. Then finally we have people or relationships. So this is really looking at how might having a trauma history or having bad or scary stuff happen in the past, how is that going to impact on how someone acts or has their relationships, whether it's the intimate relationships, relationships with family or peers. So sometimes we can see again those two ends of the spectrum where people might have really enmeshed relationships where they hang out all the time and become really dependent on one another. To a point where it may not be particularly healthy or it might be detrimental. They really rely on other people. But we can also see that some people might become really avoidant and, distance themselves from people or situations that might feel really uncomfortable, such as going to parties or socializing. What else can happen with people and relationships? We know that people can have fights more. They might jump up into their feeling a bit more hyper aroused. They might feel more distressed more easily. So something small, their threat response system, someone might say something to them and they might become really threatened by that. So again, it can be really different depending on the different type of person you're working with. So it's just a cool way to have a structured conversation with a person around how things are going for them at the moment. But you can also do it on paper with them around how these things might be going and consider those links of how trauma might play into these presentations.